Alright guys, in this video I want to go over kind of the gist of this course and also what we'll be creating. Now the first bunch of sections are going to be learning based, meaning I want to focus on certain aspects of React. So how to create a class-based component, how to create a functional component, what are props, what are state, lifecycle methods, the context API, which is going to be a big part of the first little project. So all this stuff we're going to be looking at, but we're also going to be progressively building this contact manager application. I don't want to just end up with some weird sandbox application that doesn't do anything. So it's going to end up being a full CRUD create, read, update, delete application. And just to show you over here in the React tools, we're using the context API. So we have a provider which has all of our state, and as you can see down here we have contacts, and these are actually coming from something called the JSON placeholder API, which is a fake REST API that we can actually make all kinds of HTTP requests to. So we'll be doing that as well. And just to give you a little sample of how this works, we can toggle the contact info, we can delete them, which will actually make a delete request to JSON placeholder. We'll get the response and then we'll delete it from the DOM. We can also edit, so let's just add a 1 here and update, and you can see she gets updated. We can add, we also have some validation in place, so you can see if I submit without, we'll just say John, if I submit without putting anything in, we're going to get some errors here. And let's put a phone number and add, and you can see that John gets added. Now with the contact manager, the data doesn't get persisted. If I reload, that goes away because the JSON placeholder API doesn't let us actually save to their database. However, it does make us or allow us to make real requests and gives us responses back. All right, now after we go through all that, we're going to take the same application and implement Redux. So over here you can see I have the Redux tools open, and it's going to call the actions. So it calls get contacts when the page loads. And don't worry if you don't know what like actions are and stuff, that's fine. We're going to get into all that. But down here is the state, which has all the contacts. And we can do the same exact stuff, delete, add, edit, all that stuff. It works the same exact way, except it's Redux as opposed to the context API. That way you can kind of see the difference, and you can see when you would want to use context versus Redux, okay? And in my opinion, Redux is good for really big applications. Context is better for smaller ones. All right, so both of those, like I said, use the JSON placeholder API, so we'll be dealing with this quite a bit. And then the final project is more of a production level project where we're going to use something called Firebase, which is a cloud database. And if any of you have taken my Angular course, this is the same exact application we built in that course, only we're using React and Redux this time. We're also using a library called React Redux Firebase that is really, really cool because it has its own set of actions. It has its own state. In our state, you can see we have Firebase, and we also have Firestore, which is the newer cloud database that Firebase uses. So when we log in, for instance, our auth data will get put into our state. Right now it's empty, but you can log in and you'll have that in your state, and you can use it wherever you want. So let's just go ahead and log in here real quick and get rid of that. So this is our interface here, and you can see in our auth state we have all of our user information. And then we have a list of clients with balances. The balances get added up and put up here in the total owed. We can go to the details page. We can edit their balance, and notice it's green when they don't owe any money, but if we put like 120, update, and now it's red because they owe us money. And we can also delete from here. We can edit, and notice that this balance box is grayed out. That's because as a setting, we actually have a settings page. I have this disable balance on add and disable balance on edit. So if I uncheck disable balance on add and we go to try to add, now we can add a balance. If I check it and I go to add, now we can't. Okay, so we're going to implement settings, which will get saved in local storage. Now we also have a setting to allow registration or not, because for applications like this you may not want someone to be able to register. So if we uncheck this and we log out, we no longer have the login register links here. Okay, and even if we were try to go to /register, we can't. It'll just boot us back to the login. All right, so this is more like a production level application. And then as you can see, this is our Firebase backend with all of our clients and authentication. These are all the users we can log in as and stuff like that. And then also notice that each one of these projects are deployed. If we look at the little React DevTools thing up here, it says it's a production build, and this is actually deployed to Firebase because Firebase allows hosting. This one here, the Redux version of the Contact Manager, is deployed to codedemos.com, which is actually just an Apache server. It's a shared host. And the other version, the context version of Contact Manager, is using GitHub Pages. So I'm going to show you how to deploy there as well. Okay, so you'll learn how to deploy React to 3 different types of hosting. Now this is very important. I'm going to put in this lecture, I'm going to put 3 zip files for each of these projects, so that when you're coding, when you're watching the course, when you're watching the videos, you have the final code to go and check if you need to check anything. Okay, so I will include those. Make sure you download them, put them somewhere on your machine so you have access to them. Okay, so in the next video or in the next section, we're going to start to talk about what React is. We're going to set up our environment, and you're going to start to learn the React library.